OK then, Robbie is on the show. Arsenal are in the news as ever. It feels like crunch time at the moment, doesn't it, Rob? I mean, we've seen a bit of a split in the fan base. I saw some fans on AFTV saying it's time for Arteta to go.
Really?
Crazy.
That was one fan.
What's going on? What's going on? Where are you at with Arsenal right now?
I think it was a bit of a shock to the system the other night, the defeat against Newcastle. I do think, it has been a bit panicky because that's our first defeat at home all season.
Unbelievable.
And I think that was our first defeat in 13 games. So it was a bit.
I couldn't believe that fan that was going at Arteta.
Yeah, but
Why is it panicky?
I think the reason for it, right, is that particular game the other night highlighted a big flaw with Arsenal, which is we lack a striker. Like, so you saw Isak, you were able to see the contrast because you saw Isak basically had two chances in the game. One he scores from, the other gets created from. And then you saw us miss a hatful of chances in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, the chance that Havertz missed, I think I could have scored. So I think that's what kind of led to a bit of the overreaction. But listen, I still think Arsenal were well placed. We're in a good positions in everything. We're still not even out of that League Cup game, even though we're 2-0 down. A month is a long time in football. You never know what could happen. But I do feel in this transfer market, we have to go and do something. With Saka out, the team needs freshening up a bit in attack.
James, a 2-0 loss, potentially 9 points behind Liverpool if they win their game in hand. Saka out injured. Should Arsenal fans be concerned, as some of the fans on AFTV?
No, I don't think so, actually, if I'm honest. Like, long term, they've had a bit of bad luck, Arsenal, this year, I think. Also, we look at the fixture list. I think a lot of people are now looking at that in terms of the away games that Liverpool are going to have to play. I think, if we were doing this list and it was 5 players in January for this season, you need to be taking Alisson, Trent, Van Dijk. That's the only way that the league's come in this year. But I was at the game on Tuesday as well, and Saka's so important to that team. And I think what I've sort of built my sort of transfers on is that back line doesn't feel affected a lot of the time from the opposition. There's not that pace. It feels like Arsenal kind of move up as a team. And I think there's a few things missing. But I do think that is the next stage for Arsenal. And I think Arteta's done so well and has provided a bit of a blueprint for other top sides that have kind of gone through a difficult period and then have looked to fix it. The squad's very, very healthy. It just needs that final layer, I think, in attacking positions.
But this is what's added to frustration because I think we can all see that, go and get a striker, and we haven't really done that. And a lot of people kind of don't understand why. Why haven't we done that? Why haven't we just got that final ingredient? Because we've got a great defence, got a great midfield. The attack is good, but it just lacks that killer, and then you sort of see it exposed more when Saka's not there.
Yeah, I mean, you've both referenced it there. The transfer market could be big, not only in January, but also in the summer. So that is what we're going to be doing today, isn't it? We're going to be looking at transfers Arsenal should be making to kind of push them on to the next level, right, Sam?
Yeah, I think you've got five options. Let's get straight into your first one.
Yeah, let's do it. OK. I'm going with... You got one as well? Are we doing it at the same time?
Yeah, same time. Let's do it at the same time.
Just me.
Yeah.
What I've done here, this is my strategy with these 5 that we've got here, is I want all of them.
OK, so I want to sign all 5 of these players.
In time. I would like to sign all of them.
It's not just January, is it? Because some of these, let's be realistic, aren't going to be possible in January, right? But they could take them on to...
Exactly. I think there needs to be an understanding. When I look at kind of what's missing, I look at how I've compared Liverpool and Arsenal over the last 2 years. Liverpool have answers from an attacking point of view to beat the opposition. And so I want that. And so someone like Antoine Semenyo, who has done really, really well in the last 18 months for a Bournemouth side, he's very, very different to anything Arsenal have got. And so that's a big reason why I wanted to put Antoine Semenyo forward, because I think he's someone that 25 has still got a lot of growth there as a player, but he gets into very, very different positions to Saka. I think he would also understand that Saka is the main man. There's that Kane problem of...
There is, isn't there?
Yeah, whoever you're going to buy is not going to be that starter, but I think something that you could put at Arteta's door is that he has kind of run Saka into the ground and he does play his first team and that's it. And he's also someone who could play as a striker as well. And actually, even as a Bournemouth player, he starts out wide sometimes. He also sort of steps in and becomes another, I guess, like a second striker, target man with his back to goal at times. And also what I really like is me and my mates used to call it a back post party. He loves a back post party. So sometimes if you need that guy at the back post just to kind of tap it in, and he's got those forward instincts. Final thing I'd say with him is Arsenal are a big side, but they're kind of a big side at the back for me. I think that front line, yes, Havertz, you could say he's obviously huge, but he's 5'11", Semenyo. He's got a nice big frame to him, and he's got that pace as well. So I think adding that to this Arsenal team would give them different options, and in particular in games where you want to rest Saka. Yeah.
Robbie, who you gone with?
I've gone with Brian Mbeumo, right?
Arsenal fans love this guy.
I like this guy. He scored against us the other day. Good goal. He's the way he stepped up, for that Brentford team has been absolutely unbelievable, and he's consistently good, right? And I think he would be a great backup to Saka. I think he would be a guy that would enable us sometimes when we want to rest Saka. And then you remember with Arsenal, we've got a lot of games. We've got Champions League games, and so you'd be able to rotate very well with a player like this. And I also think that he's a player that is of so much quality, but very, very underrated in this Premier League. And the stage of Arsenal, I think he'd rise to it. So I think he'd be a top player for Arsenal. We
haven't really seen him down the middle as much. And you said he'll be a backup for Saka. Both of these players predominantly play on the right. Do you think that they can do the job down the middle? Because that's what Havertz is struggling with as well.
Yeah, I think he could possibly play across that front three, but I'd be looking at him saying, right, you're our guy to back up Saka, because we are very reliant on Saka. You're seeing the issues now with Saka being out. We haven't really got no one to step in. He could do that, but I think he could switch over to the left if it was required as well. And another thing is, if you've got a penalty, he can take him. He's brilliant on penalties.
Let's get these two up, but I do want to say about Mbeumo as well is that something levelled at Arsenal was not taking their chances. Brian Mbeumo with the best shot conversion rate of any player in the Premier League, effectively overperforming his XG by only 7 goals. So he is clinical in front of goal. Maybe that is something Arsenal should
underrated player.
Let's go to your next suggestions then. Is it another winger for you, Rob?
It's another winger for me.
Heavily linked with the club, isn't he?
Heavily linked with Arsenal. Nico Williams, he was brilliant during the Euros. Yeah. He's quick. He's got a good cross on him. I think you get a player like that in, it adds a lot of balance to Arsenal, because when Saka's playing, everything seems to go out on that right-hand side. You bring a player like this in, then you've got threats on both sides, serious threats.
He's only got one goal this season, though.
He has had a quiet season, but I'd still overlook that and just say that, listen, look what he did at the Euros, look what he's done previously. And this is a player that needs to step up now, you know what I mean? No disrespect to Athletic Bilbao, but he needs to step up. He needs to be playing in the Champions League. And I think if he came to Arsenal, it'd be an exciting addition.
Yeah, I think it's helpful as well that he's got a buyout clause, right? That's always helpful when you're trying to
activate
players,
it, Arsenal.
Isn't it? You've gone for a slightly more unknown name, haven't you, Jimbo? Not loads of people at home watching this will know a lot about Malik Fofana.
So Malik Fofana, my good friend Andy Brassel, who's a European expert, I was listening to a podcast with him, On the Continent it's called, and he was talking about Malik Fofana. So I then kind of went and had a look at him, and I do like him as a player. And I think we kind of were talking about it with Semenyo a little bit as well. But what I want is Arteta to be able to go, OK, that's not working on the pitch. Let me have a look. Right. And there's so many things you can pick off the shelf and bring in, and they can affect the game. Malik Fofana as a player is really, really exciting. And he's at Lyon, who need to sell players. He's only 19. He's keeping Wilfried Zaha out of that team at the moment. And what I really like about him when I watch him is, so he sort of plays on the left-hand side generally, right-footed, and will dribble with that right foot. But what I like, and maybe it's a bit different to some other players, is that he would dribble with that right foot, but he doesn't always cut inside. Normally that right-footed left winger, you think they're always going to want to go that way. He is more than happy to do two things. One, go to the byline and then cross with his left foot, or just put a nice cross in early with that left foot as well. And so maybe not an initial starter, but I think he would come in, he's direct when he wants to be direct, he's cute when he wants to be cute, he will put those crosses in, and as a winger he can do a bit of everything. He's got great pace, as I say, keeping out a quality player in Wilfried Zaha out of the team as well. And at 19 it's one where you can bring him in, start him when you need to start him, make sure you beat the other guys as well as just winning those games on a Super Sunday, and just be another option. And I think there's a real opportunity to get him now.
Yeah, I mean, Lyon are in such financial difficulties, aren't they? So let's get him up then, and we'll move on to the next suggestions. Are we going to see an actual striker?
Not yet for me.
We've got another striker from you, Robbie.
Got another striker, Dusan Vlahovic, who again has been linked with Arsenal before in the past. Has been a little bit hit and miss for Juventus, but I think he'd be a player be very suited to the Premier League. I really do. Arsenal need a striker, right? We don't have a striker for some reason. It's like we don't like strikers. We're anti-striker. I want to see top quality striker at Arsenal. I think someone who's in the box. I was at a Newcastle game the other night. I'm looking over at the Newcastle side. You see Isak, he's always in the middle, he's always in the box. I looked at our strikers, they're hovering around, they're outside the box, they're on the left-hand side, the right-hand side, whether it was Jesus or Havertz. I want an out-and-out guy. Vlahovic could be an option.
Is this a move for January, or do you reckon it's a move for the summer?
I'd love this for now.
Yeah.
If it could happen now, you know, we need a striker now.
It's interesting, though, because Juventus, he's got 18 months left on his contract.
That's right.
A bit of a stirring, isn't there, amongst Juventus fans? I think he's only scored 2 league goals since November, so there's a few question marks.
He's a bagsman, though.
Have you got on for a striker as well, Jim?
No, not yet.
Okay, not
I've
yet.
gone for Brahim
Another
Diaz.
wide man.
Yeah, well, so he is a
play the
wide
10
man
as well, can't he?
Yeah, so he's sort of like, almost like a bit of a utility striker.
Good player.
And it's a sort of a road world.
Not another utility striker.
Wait.
Not another one.
No, because as I'm building out my squad with all these
Yeah.
fantastic wingers,
And you're signing all of these players.
and I'm signing all of these. What I like about Brahim Diaz is I think, again, that game, Arsenal work their way up the pitch, and then what you're needing is, I think they need players that are going to kind of run and beyond and look to make those runs. There's some players that run away from you, and there's some players that come and give it to my feet. And Brahim Diaz is a player that can play in all different positions along that line, can start as a wide player and dribble with the ball, but he's got wonderful vision. And Newcastle were playing 5-5 in that game.
Yeah.
And so you need to be able to unlock it. And you need to be able to unlock it by having those players that are looking for those little slide passes and runs and facing the goal. But you also need the guy who will thread through that pass. And I think there's such a over-reliance sometimes on Odegaard to kind of have that little bit of spark. And again, one thing I would say with Arsenal is that we've seen them play kind of fun, exciting football. But I think they're so well drilled, they've kind of lost that a little bit. And I think when you've got to break down a team, sometimes it gets to a point where you need a player who's just got a little spark about him. And I feel like Brahim Diaz can do that. And he can play on the left, on the right, and he can play in those 2-10 or attacking 8 positions as well.
How does Arsenal attract him away from Real Madrid? Because the Real Madrid fans love him, and every time he comes on the pitch for them, he does perform.
I think it's just pretty stacked there at Real Madrid.
Does he get on the pitch?
So
Yeah.
here's the thing. I did my podcast with Faisal from SDS. We went through the whole Real Madrid squad. Every player, he goes, he's class. He's every single player. But you can't have them all. Now, I understand Real Madrid play 60-odd games a season, but at some point, like Martin Odegaard, these players that have got themselves to Real Madrid and in and around the first team, they want to be the best and they want to be the main guy and they want to play 40, 50 games a season. So it's one of those ones where I think if you can get him over there, I think him and Odegaard in some of those pockets is really, really exciting. Or if in those other areas as well, he has that star quality.
Yep, all right, let's get him up. That's a bit of a history in England as well, isn't there? I think he was at Man City for
Yes, he started off there.
So
Yeah, exactly.
might
And
not be
Arteta
averse
knows
to
him
it.
as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
OK, number 2, Robbie.
Listen, no pocket.
This is the talk of the town at the moment, Robbie. But
no surprise here.
Right, I don't want to hear
surprise.
nothing about no pockets and no balls being threaded through. We do enough of that. We need strikers.
Who is it?
Right? So it's Alexander.
Another one, hang on, what's going on here?
How many strikers?
Stacked with strikers.
Strikers galore for me, right? Because it's like we haven't signed one for ages, since Aubameyang. I want to see a striker at Arsenal. Now, I know it's impossible to get this done in January, maybe in the summer, but for me, if it's like break the bank time, it's break the bank time for him. And when I watched him the other night, and when I watched him earlier on in the season when we played Newcastle, he didn't do a lot. But when the chances came to him, bang. Killer.
Does he?
A killer up front. That is what Arsenal lack. Isak, for me, fits the bill. He would be excellent for Arsenal. He would fit how we play. It's, to me, the most nailed-on, suitable player out there, although we know about how much it would cost. We know how difficult it would be to do. But for me, that would be my #1 target in the summer.
Does these injuries concern you, though, for the amount that Newcastle are going to want for him?
It fit Arsenal as well with injuries, you know what I mean? But yeah, listen, he has had some injury issues, definitely, but I would still go and get him.
Yeah, is he the best? Do you think he's the best striker in the league? I know that Haaland's
all-round striker. I
Haaland
think
in terms of goal scorer, no doubt, but striker as a package.
Yeah, I think he's so complete. I think he's got that Lewandowski, like that Dortmund vibes.
Yeah.
Like I think he's really, really good, and he sort of glides away. Some players you can hear him run, and I can hear him go. Like, he's got that pace about him over a few yards.
Right.
Great finishing ability.
Strong
Goal against
as well.
Liverpool where he walloped one in. Yeah, quite those sort of long limbs as well. Gives him that yard, even though he's maybe not outrageously strong. It doesn't make a difference. At the end of this, you're going to have to pick one of these strikers.
Yeah.
Who
Who have you gone for then, Jimbo? Let's see
Robbie, rest at ease. We've got ourselves a 6 here.
Oh, wow.
In Zubimendi. Do you know what he's going to do? He's going to play the passes. He's got the middle.
It's interesting you've picked a midfielder, though, isn't it?
I think so. Jorginho's not getting any younger. Thomas Partey is good, of course, but I think his ability to again see the pass and play the pass. If you get those runners in place, I just look at Liverpool and I look at Arsenal, and I don't feel like Arsenal affect that back line quickly enough. And there's sort of two states of play. There's going to be one where you've got them sort of camped in, you've got to find that little pass, or on transition, you've got to be able to play that long-ranging pass and cut through. And Zubimendi is just a bit of me. Like, he's such a good player, and he's so smart with his passes. He plays these lovely ones with the outside of his foot at times. He really surveys the situation and unlocks it. And I think he would be wonderful, even for players like Moreno, who he's played with, of course. Even someone like Declan Rice, who, when he does play as an 8, has got the energy to make sort of those bursting runs. He will find those exciting players that you're going to bring into the team.
All right, let's get him up and let's have a look at your final name, because I know Robbie is about to pitch yet another striker.
I play that they
Surely
agree on,
not.
though. You both agree
Yeah,
on
it's an agreement. It's actually an agreement.
Total
it's
agreement?
Our first total agreement.
Hey,
Strikers.
One of the best strikers in the world right now.
that is an amazing front three you've got. A front four you've got there.
Yeah.
Vermo,
Absolutely ridiculous goal.
See, I'm going all out attack. I've had, enough of listen, it's not that I've had enough of midfielders. We've got midfielders, we've got great defenders. It's attack. If we had I'm convinced if we improve our attack, we can win the league, right? Victor Gyökeres, or Gyökeres, whichever way you want to pronounce it, 62 goals, I think it was last season.
Insane, yeah.
Great goal-scoring record. I watched him even when we played against Sporting. I was at the game over there in Portugal. And even though he kind of got locked down in that game by Saliba and Gabriel, there's no shame to that, but you could see his intent. He's a striker. He's in the box. He wants to score goals. That's all he wants to do. And I think that is what we lack. That player that is hungry to score goals. There's that release clause that we all know about. Go and get him, or one of these strikers. Arsenal need a striker.
Let's put them both up, and I want to just finish with one word from you, Robbie, actually, which is you've got 3 strikers there. If you could only take one of them,
Isak.
it would be Isak every day. Jimbo, would you agree with that?
Look, if you can get Isak, then great. I think it will be very difficult to get him from Newcastle. That's why I've gone for Gyökeres.
Nice one. So those are the suggestions that the lads have. If you agree, let us know on social media.
Yeah, OK.